In the wake of those losses, Moscow has moved away from heavy reliance on long-range aviation and begun depending more on ground-based ballistic and cruise missiles, Defense Blog reports. Citing Ukrainian defense sources, Defense Blog notes the shift has become increasingly visible in recent strikes across the front line, central and northern regions. For much of the war, Russia's Tu-95MS and Tu-160 bombers launched cruise missiles capable of reaching any target in Ukraine. But after Ukraine's security service drones struck airbases deep inside Russia, several bombers were destroyed, forcing the Kremlin to scale back long-range aviation missions. Officials now describe the move as an effort to preserve the remaining aircraft and reduce exposure to further Ukrainian attacks. In place of strategic aviation, Russia is relying more on its Iskander missile system, deploying both ballistic and cruise variants to hit targets from safer positions within Russian-held territory. These shorter-range missiles are being used primarily against central and left bank areas, limiting Russia's reach into western Ukraine without deploying bombers. Meanwhile, Russia's use of Caliber and Kinzhal missiles, as well as Shahed drones, continues largely unchanged. These long-range systems remain central to Moscow's strikes on critical infrastructure and cities, used in coordination with the newly adjusted Iskander-based pattern. Analysts say the shift highlights growing pressure on Russia's strategic bomber fleet and the broader impact of Ukraine's deep strike operations under Operation Spiderweb. By exposing the vulnerability of assets once believed untouchable, Ukraine has forced Moscow to recalibrate its missile doctrine, trading reach and payload for safety and survivability. Earlier, reports emerged that Russia has repeatedly used the 9M729 cruise missile, a weapon whose covert development once led the United States to quit a major Cold War-era arms control treaty against Ukraine in recent months. According to Reuters, Russia has fired the ground-launched 9M729 missile at Ukraine at least 23 times since August, with 2 earlier launches recorded in 2022. The missile, capable of carrying either a nuclear or conventional warhead, was at the center of the 2019 U.S. withdrawal from the INF Treaty after Washington accused Moscow of violating the pact by developing and testing weapons that exceeded the treaty's 500-kilometer limit. Sibia said Moscow's use of the INF-banned missile underscores Vladimir Putin's disrespect for both the United States and President Donald Trump's diplomatic efforts. Russia's use of the INF-banned 9M729 against Ukraine in the past months demonstrates Putin's disrespect to the United States and President Trump's diplomatic efforts to end Russia's war against Ukraine. He said in written comments to Reuters, the missile's use expands Russia's arsenal of long-range strike options and, according to Western analysts cited by Reuters, fits a broader pattern of Moscow using the war to project pressure on Europe as Trump pushes a new peace initiative. I think Putin is trying to ramp up pressure as part of the Ukrainian negotiations, said William Albeque, a senior adjunct fellow at the Pacific Forum, adding that the 9M729 was designed to hit European targets.
On the night of November 14th, a drone attack by Ukrainian armed forces on the seaport in Novorossiysk, Krasnodar region of Russia, was filmed and shared by Turkish sailors standing near the port. The footage, which was shared on social media, shows Ukrainian drones launching a series of strikes on the port and ships stationed there. Commenting on the incident, Turkish sailors said that one of the ships in the port was hit. Recall, Ukrainian drones struck the Russian port city of Novorossiysk, Krasnodar Krai, on November 14, damaging an oil terminal and sparking a large fire, multiple Russian telegram channels and local officials reported. The attack hit the Sheskery's oil complex, where infrastructure facilities were damaged and a blaze broke out. The facility is a major oil export terminal that serves as the endpoint for pipelines run by Russia's state-run Transneft, the world's largest oil pipeline company. The Krasnodar Krai operational headquarters reported the hit at the oil terminal and said several coastal facilities had been damaged in the attack. Officials claimed the fire at the Sheskeries complex had been extinguished. It was also reported that a ship in port was damaged during the attack, injuring 3 crew members. Drone fragments also fell in various areas of the city. Several apartment buildings were damaged. According to the Crimean Wind, a missile could hit an S-300-400 position in Novorossiysk on the territory of Military Unit 1537 of the Kuban Red Banner Anti-Aircraft Missile Regiment. There are also reports of a hit on a Kalibr missile depot. In addition, the channel's sources report an arrival at the oil terminal of JSC Chernomortransneft. Novorossiysk, a key hub for Russia's Black Sea logistics and energy infrastructure, has been repeatedly targeted in Ukrainian strikes. Kiev considers Russian oil refineries and petrochemical facilities to be valid military targets as they help fund Moscow's war efforts.
Bir saattir sürüyor. Rafineriyi vurdular. Gemiyi vurdular. Rafineriyi bir daha vurdular. Drone burada. Oh! Kreni vurdular.
Ukrainian forces launched air raids on a Russian S-400 air defense system missile site, oil refinery, naval base in Saratov and Kherson regions deep in Russia using long-range missiles on the night of November 14. Ukrainian struck a naval base, an oil refinery in Russia's Saratov region, and a fuel storage site near Engels port in the region, the General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces reported on Friday. The attack marks the 4th strike on Saratov oil refinery this year that is located 600 kilometers east of the front line in Ukraine. Explosions and subsequent fires were observed on the facility's grounds, while the extent of the damage is being clarified. Local residents reported that the attack on the oil refinery was launched with drones. It produces more than 20 different petroleum products, including gasoline, diesel, fuel oil, and bitumen. The Russian Defense Ministry reported that air defense units shot down 45 drones over the Saratov region during the night. Owned by Russian oil giant Rosneft, Saratov refinery has a daily processing capacity of 140,000 barrels of crude. In a separate attack, Ukrainian troops hit the Novorossiysk naval base in Russia's Krasnodar region with the use of Ukrainian-made drones and Neptune missiles, Ukrainian military reported. The strike damaged oil-loading berths, pipelines, and pumping stations, and a large fire continued to burn at the oil terminal. The port reportedly halted oil exports after the attack, and Transneft stopped crude supplies to the distribution center. Damage was also recorded to port infrastructure and the Sheskeries oil terminal as well as a launcher from an S-400 air defense system and a missile storage site. The strikes were followed by detonation and fire. The extent of damage has yet to be evaluated. The extent of the damage is being clarified. Novorossiysk port ranks as Russia's second-largest oil export center and a vital logistics node for petroleum products via the Black Sea. The operation was carried out by SBU's Alpha Special Forces, working together with the Defense Ministry's Intelligence Directorate, Special Operations Forces, Border Guard Service, Navy Coastal Missile and Artillery Units, and other defense forces. A source within the SBU said the coordinated actions of Ukraine's security and defense forces are steadily cutting Russia's oil revenues, stressing that each damaged refinery or terminal costs the Kremlin millions and weakens its ability to keep fighting. Earlier, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Ukrainian forces used long-range Neptune missiles in the overnight strikes on Russia, stressing that, "This is our entirely just response to Russia's ongoing terror." Ukrainian missiles are delivering increasingly significant and precise results virtually every month.